So let's delve into this. Let me explain the major changes is adding some basis points to some measurements and also adding the number of loans closed per employee to some measurements. Let me tell you why that's important because I think if you can understand the why, it's gonna really help. Why? First of all, what are basis points? Basis points are dollars expressed as a percentage, and so it's a percentage calculation. So 100 basis points is 1% of whatever the amounts are. So let's say that I'm a loan officer and I'm paid 100 basis points and I do $100,000 loan. I'm going to be paid a commission of $1,000. If I'm a loan officer and I do that same $100,000 loan, but I'm paid 200 basis points, then I'm going to make $2,000 on that loan. So the reason that we're expressing these things in dollars and now in basis points is because when you look at the core members that we coach, we have ranges where the average, a person in the Midwest, for example, their average loan amount might be $150,000. And we coach people where their average loan amount is $600,000. And that gap is dollars are always dollars. We all understand, dollars, but the percentage of those dollars is important because things change a lot. It's very dynamic when you have that variation in loan amounts. So if you just use dollars, it can be very deceiving. And so if I were to ask you on basis points, if I were to say, hey, would you rather be paid on a loan? Would you rather be paid $100,000? Would you rather be paid 100 basis points or $3,000? You couldn't answer the question unless you know the loan amount. So if it was a $100,000 loan and you're getting paid 1% or 100 basis points, that's $1,000 commission. On the other extreme, let's say I'm doing a $500,000 loan and I'm getting paid 100 basis points, my commission's $5,000. So basis points are a way to equalize the difference in loan amounts as we go through these P&Ls. So when we look at P&Ls, the reason I wanted to add basis points is because when you're talking about a mortgage company, you always want to express your overhead and your revenue in both dollars, which we do now, that's how the old P&L is, and in basis points, okay? We always want to do both. The second change that we've made is number of loans closed per full-time employee. The reason that we added that is because if you see a loan team and they're closing 20 loans a month, if they're doing that with a total of 4 people, that's pretty good. But if they're doing 20 loans a month with 10 people, 10 employees, that's really bad. And it speaks to efficiency. And one of the problems that we've had in the core is people think, well, I'll just have a big old team and we'll do big old numbers. It's not true. It's not how it works. It's about process. It's about efficiency. That's how you make money. So that whole number of loans closed per full-time employee, that's all about how efficient are we being, okay? So yes, going back to one of Kelly's questions, you can use this new P&L for regular loan officers, and yes, you would use it for branches, okay? So let's walk through an example. If you look at the bottom, I did some examples. One of the things that we added is cost to acquire. That's expressed in dollars and in basis points. That's total of Section 1 expenses divided by the number of first mortgage loans closed in a branch. So let's say that I had $100,000 in overhead for the branch, and I closed 100 loans. My cost to acquire would be $1,000 per loan. Okay, so now if I want to take Section 1 and I want to express it in basis points, if you look at the example, it says that's total dollars to run the branch in Section 1 divided by the dollar volume of all the loans closed that month. So for example, my Section 1 overhead is $76,000 to run the branch, and I closed $8 million in loans. All I do is I take $76,000 and divide it by 8 million, and I get 95 basis points. Okay? So this is important because I might be on a coaching call, and one student is running the branch for 95 basis points cost to acquire. And there's another guy on the call that's 150 basis points cost to acquire. Okay, so these wide variations, I want them to, the guy that's at 150, I want to get that cost down so that the branch can make more money. When you just look at dollars, it doesn't, sometimes the student will look at it and they'll say, well, Todd, I made a lot of money. Okay, but you're very inefficient. So if we get more efficient, the branch will make more money. Okay, and that's why you always want to look at dollars and basis points. It's never one or the other, never. So that's a little bit about why we're doing this. I know it may not make total sense, but if you think about it this way, to recapitulate what I'm talking about, number one, we always want to track dollars and basis points when it comes to loan officers and branches, because the proper financial analysis is to always look at both. It's not one way or the other. Okay. Number two, we're tracking number of loans closed per employee, because some people's teams have gotten way out of hand, and it's not impressive to have 10 people closing 20 loans a month. Okay. We want to be more efficient. It's a big push for all of us in the core. You make money in business by being efficient. And what's happened is because people have gotten their teams too big, they think that that's what they're supposed to do. Well, you can have a big team as long as you're hitting the metrics. But if you have a big team and you're not hitting the metrics, all you're going to do is cost yourself money. Okay. So this whole financial analysis, most salespeople, just so you all know, are really bad at P&L skills. So these changes are going to be tough for people to understand over the next 3 months. But once it becomes part of the culture, I guarantee it will really make a difference to how people manage their businesses so that we can make more money and be more efficient. And that's really what it's about. So I hope that helps answer some of these questions. And I'm sure there'll be some more, but we'll take it from there.